Welcome, Kingdom Warriors. We are Relentless Glory, and we are here to relentlessly provide motivation, education, and of course, relentlessly praise God. Coach Olivia here and Coach Jayme.
Yo, guys, what's going on? Coach Jayme here.
This is Coach Liv.
And we are
Relentless Glory.
All right. This is going to be a topic that let me come around on this side of the table. Speaking in tongues. I'm going to be handing the mic here to Liv in a second. For me, being Catholic, this was not something that we ever did, and even with my walk of faith so far, like I've seen it, I've talked with people who've told me about it. I've personally never experienced it. Other than like maybe seeing videos of it, or like have been listening to some worship songs that I can hear in the background. But I've never witnessed it. I've never experienced it. So it's a little intimidating with me. So I'm gonna just kind of sit back, relax, and have you kind of explain to me, like, how did you first ever experience, or how were you ever surrounded around the concept with speaking in tongues, and what is that like?
So, funny thing. So in my church, we call it speaking in our prayer language. And it's not anything that's as like weird as like the world makes it out to be. And I get down with the people that will speak in tongues, because I feel like they're more, it just allows you to have a closer relationship with God. It really does. So like, and it's like you close your eyes and you literally just random things come out of your mouth. Like what my prayer language sounds like is not going to be like anybody else's, because I watch some of these people on here on YouTube, and their prayer language be like eloquent, you know?
Well, I was gonna say, I feel like I've heard, like, again, the experience of me hearing it, the people that I've heard that have been speaking in tongues, it sounds similar. And I think that's also, we're going to on that one other episode that we talk about, like, how to pray, and me feeling like if I would attempt to speak in tongues, I'd be doing it wrong, because it seems like that even though it's your own language, people all kind of sound similar in speaking that. So I don't know how to get to that point, and I definitely don't know what that feels like.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. Scientifically, so my church actually showed the science behind it, because I was a little apprehensive at first, because I had met this one lady back in Florida who prayed over me, and she was praying in tongues too. Nice, pretty white lady with shortcut, like, looked kind of like a Karen, but wasn't a Karen. She was a good woman, right?
Listen, we love Karens, okay? Love Jesus love people like Jesus does. And by the way, it's funny because my mother's name is Karen, and I love her a lot. So she's not a Karen, but her name's Karen. Okay, go ahead.
But I just, make y'all laugh, right? But with that being said, like, that was the first time I had really encountered it. Okay. Because even like my Jehovah's Witness family, they didn't pray in tongues, and so it was a little. But I never thought it was weird. I never felt standoffish about it, even though I wasn't necessarily raised around it. I was just like, that's just how they communicate. I wasn't really, I didn't get bothered by that. Well, then at my church, they showed the science behind, like, a scientific study that had been done, where what part of your brain is activated when you're actually speaking in tongues. Ooh. And it's this front part right here. Yeah. And it boosts your mood. And it also, for those people that know anything about the spiritual world, because there's a lot of different spiritual stuff, this is where it kind of like overlaps.
That's what I was just going to ask, like the way, like when people get into the meditated state, would that be the same thing?
Yeah, that and shoppers too. And this is exactly where the third eye is. And so it's actually, and that's where it gets kind of interesting, because to me, I still have questions on these things, but what it feels like as a Christian.
Yeah, time out real quick, just also again for as you guys that are tuning in, we are never showing up here that we are the experts about the Bible, or that we are expert Christians. We are all imperfect people serving a perfect God, and we are here to educate you on our walk of faith and to be able to help encourage you that we are students of the Lord, just like you all are. So as she's talking about this, like, clearly I'm retracting because I don't know a darn thing about this, and she obviously knows people that know about it way more than what she does, but she's speaking on her experience. So when you guys are watching these episodes, keep that in mind too, please.
Yeah, thank you for adding that. But it's just like, so when I do speak, I don't speak in tongues that much.
Are you able to control when it happens, or like does it just kind of?
Sometimes, like if I'm praying for somebody, praying over somebody, and I actually like feel the spirit side tangent. So I asked somebody that did shrooms, for instance.
Okay.
I asked them what it felt like, because I've never done that. I'm not interested in doing that ever. But I've had some spiritual experiences that have left me so drained, so physically exhausted. And because he talked about how it was like a psychedelic experience, y'all didn't think I was going to get this today, did you, by the way? You didn't think he was going to get this? Well, you're welcome. Anyway, so he was like, well, it really opens up your third eye chakra. Me understanding that, okay, if I'm speaking in tongues, I'm praying over somebody, I'm really like getting in the spirit, it's the same space.
You're experiencing that without shrooms.
Yes. And then he's like, for the next day, it's like I feel like I'm hungover, really drained. I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm just tripping on Jesus. Because I'd be so like, just drained afterwards, right?
High on Jesus, gotta get on Jesus.
But seriously, so like you do feel almost lighter when you speak in tongues. You feel
like, do you feel like it's an outer body experience? Are you aware of what you're doing? Like, are you aware of what you're thinking? Or is something just happen and then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I'm back and I feel awesome?
I'm totally there. But then again, I was also never the person when I drank. Like, I never, ever got blackout, no matter how drunk I got. Like, I never got to that point. But I got, really, really... So I don't even know if it will ever be, that type of experience for me. Because I know people that, wouldn't even drink as much as I would and would get blackout. So, that's what I'm saying.
We're talking drugs. We're talking parties. We're talking getting high on Jesus.
This is real, okay? This is real life. This is who we are. I think, it's important to show, we're not perfect Christians. We had a life, and God has made our lives so much better. Now I live a sober lifestyle, I don't, but that doesn't mean that, I think that God also had us do this to relate to people that don't necessarily relate to the church.
So when was the first time that you experienced speaking in tongues? Not that someone did it to you, that you first ever did to somebody else.
Oh, it's really just with myself.
When was the first time?
Like a year and a half, 2 years ago maybe.
Okay.
And that honestly helped build my faith too. It's weird. It's just weird because it's not an outer body experience. It's just a elevated experience. And I mean, I know you've got friends that speak in tongues too, and it's just it's honestly something I feel like I should do more. Not from feeling weird or anything like that, but more so because it's I feel more connected because, oh my God, when I have to, I just got so much to say, and it's just what comes out. My heart feels different, this whole area feels completely different.
So, okay, because I'm definitely in student mode here, I have this thing that happens to me all the time where it's I don't necessarily black out, but I'm I don't even know where that came from or why I said that or why I started feeling this way and why I thought it was necessary to say this to you. Would that be considered a form of tongues? Because it's not that I feel like I necessarily left my body, but for me, where I'm I feel like that was 100% God speaking for me because I don't know anything about that. So the fact that I put that phrase together that message was meant for you, I'll be I don't even know where that came from. Why it shouldn't be, right? But is that the same?
It's not the same, but it is that has happened to me too.
Because I honestly, I will tell you so many times on a lot of my client calls, I will tell them, I pray before I go on my client calls, and I'm whether they're Christians or not, I give them the heads up if they want and they're willing for me to pray with them on the calls. I will if that's something that's not their style. I don't, but still even after that, my God, whatever's supposed to happen on this call, please be there with me on it. And then afterwards, That works. That was good. I don't know where that came from. That was good.
You know, I do that in a lot of areas of my life too. Like almost before.
So it's different than tongues.
But there have been times that I have spoken to people and they tell me this is the third time I've heard that today. And I was like,
threes. I love threes.
It was like it wasn't. I didn't even know to say that, but I just felt the need to say that. It's
God works through us.
You know, and
that's why we are just vessels.
What's your interpretation of speaking in tongues?
Yes, what has been your experience? Do you feel like you're not Christian enough or you're not close enough with God if you don't? What are your thoughts on?
Do you think it's weird?
Yes.
You know?
Have you ever been around it? This is good. This is good. Anything else?
No. Let's close this out.
All right. So, guys, as I mentioned earlier, I want to state this again. We are imperfect people serving a perfect God, and we are just leaning into God's calling to have us do this, to just spread the word of all things that God wants us to, and we are here to support you in any capacity that it is that we can. And if you guys make sure you hit the subscribe button, tag somebody who needs to see this and hear this. If you'd like to be added to our email list for devotionals and just all things getting high on Jesus, please in the theme of today, please let us know. And I guess all of that being said, all we ask of you at this point right now, go be relentless for the glory of God.
Thanks for being here. Now go be relentless for the glory of God.